Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Phil. How are you doing this evening, Phil?
I am doing well, Chantel.
That's good to hear. And since, Survivor's your favorite show, I think, out of all reality TV, if I'm not mistaken, how did you find this episode overall?
I found it frustrating watching it because Global, like I was having an issue with the app, so it wasn't working. But I got to rewatch it. So after I got to rewatch it, I feel good. I feel happy that they're 4-4-4. I'm happy with that. It's going to make it interesting.
Well, or is it like, or will the two tribes just get together and like vote out the Taku, the happy, everybody, everything? They think everything is going so well, tribe.
Possible, but there are on each of those other two tribes a defector, right? There's somebody that does not want to be still with their tribe. So we'll see.
Very true. We do have some friends joining us. Hi, Hamza. Thank you for being here. Hello, Diva. And hello, I am. And if this is your first time joining us here, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Be part of our little crew of people that loves talking about reality TV as much as Phil and I do. And as you probably have figured it out, we're talking about Survivor episode 5 today. So we start off the episode after the tribal where Swati goes home and Roxroy kind of just needs to be understanding what's going on. So it seems like they didn't let him know that they were not voting out Tori. What do you think of the tribe's decision for not telling Roxroy? And how do you think he handled it?
I think that it's very telling that I think Roxroy is coming across properly. I think the edit is showing that he's a bit stubborn. The fact that they were scared to tell him about a change in case it blew up and all of that. He's going to be in a lot of trouble in this game because you need to be able to work with other people and let other people make decisions sometimes. And his response to it started good until he started going on about, well, I guess I don't know how to play, and I guess I'm not. Then I was like, oh, that's not going to go over very well. People aren't going to like that. So,
well, he does say that he's not picking up on social cues and stuff like that. What I did like that he did was when they said, I think it was Romeo said, yeah, like we spoke to Swati and she had said to me that like you are my fight, you are my number one, and she also said it to other people, and he's like, oh, okay, if that's the case, then you definitely need to flush her out or get her out. So
yeah.
I love the fact that he wasn't super angry about the fact that he wasn't brought in and that he seemingly was understanding about how the vote went, whether it was strategic or not. I think it was good for his game not to be bitter and pissed off about the fact that he didn't know about the vote and that one of his allies in this case went home. So I thought he handled it decently.
Yeah, I think he could have handled it a lot worse. It could have been really dangerous for him. He could have exploded or whatever. I think he did well in that sense. And I think maybe she said it to him too because he seemed like he kind of understood why they did it after. So maybe she said that to him.
I would have loved to see the flashback if that were the case. I was thinking that myself, but I thought that they would have shown the flashback if that was true. But maybe they didn't catch it, and she did say it to him, which would also be hilarious. So they're kind of sitting in the dark with the night cam, and this is when Rockstar is talking about not picking up social clues and whatnot, but like also talking about sticking together if there's a merge. And you can just see Tori in the night vision camera, like rolling her eyes, like, but saying, like, agreeing, like, yeah, of course we're gonna stick together. And then seeing her confessional, like, yeah, I'm jumping ship. I'm not working with Rockstar. you laughed. You enjoyed this moment?
I thought it was wonderful. I think at one point she even like you see her and she's like, no way. You can still like whatever, rolling her eyes. This girl is so fun to watch because she's so bad.
But she's not that bad though, right? Like she's still able to get out of trouble.
She is playing like how I feel like I would want to play if I wanted to be as honest that like and how frustrated I would get with people. she just wears it and just is getting frustrated with people. So, it's going to be interesting if she can keep this going for a couple more rounds. People might look at her and go, "I'll take her to the end." She seems kind of.
Absolutely. I mean, I probably would take her to the end too. So Hamza says this season is so much better than the last because they've improved on the twist. Hopefully they changed up some of the stuff for next week's twist. I mean, we're going to speculate about how we think that's going to go down later. I don't know. Like, I think they want to try it again just because I don't think that they believe that it's a faulty mechanic. Like, I think that they want to try it again and be like, it was just that group of people. They didn't appreciate a good twist. And I feel like they're going to do it the same. But we'll speculate more at the end as to what we think. If it's going to be an hourglass or if it's going to be something else, all that jazz. Hi, the hangout room. So I was happy that she went home. Really, I mean, I wasn't necessarily happy. I think I'd rather Swati go home than Tori because I think this Tori is just a lot messier. And I felt bad that obviously that Swati, she's so young and like it's probably one of her dreams to be on the show. So cutting her dream short sucks, but I feel like Tori will give us more.
Yes, I mean, she was on my draft, so obviously I'm upset that she left for that reason. But I think we said this last time. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing her Swati in a couple
10 years.
Yeah, because I think she'd be really good. I think she.
Well, even in 4 years, she still probably will be like one of the youngest people of the tribe.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Literally she's a teenager still.
Yeah.
So
and Tori's great TV, so I'm okay with Tori sticking it out.
He had no choice but to be humbled. Well, I mean, he did have a choice. Like, and it seems like he has many choices in the camp where he can hold his tongue or not, and he chooses to speak his mind. So the fact that he didn't speak his mind, I think that was a decision that he made. And I was proud of him for doing that because from what I've learned from him so far, that he kind of just like, it just comes out.
Yeah.
So he definitely edited, in my opinion. So the hangar room was thinking of me. Oh, when Tori said, wait, that said that because when you said that, Tori will jump ship. See? Boom. Yeah. And wasn't somebody coming for me on Twitter? Because Sharon and I were talking about the fact that it might have been a bad move for the tribe because Tori would jump ship. And so then someone was, but then the know-it-all, so Rob and Stephen Fishback, they said at the same time when Tara and I were doing our recap, was that it was a good decision to keep the enemy that you know. And so then some of the viewers that had watched both would be like, oh my God, complete competing ideas as to like if it was a good tribal or the results, like what was better, what was worse.
Right.
And so I feel like Tara and I got vindicated for the fact that we both literally were like, she will jump ship. She'll jump ship. And I said, and I did say, like, when I was like rebuttaling on Twitter, I was like, I mean, I think that tribe is a mess. And like, I feel like anybody could easily jump ship, but Tori is definitely out first. Like, I don't think that she has really any intention of staying true to that tribe. Maybe Drea, but like, most likely she's going to try to make new connections. So thanks for recognizing that. Okay, seeing people like JD, Swati, and Zach made me want to wait a little longer before I go on a strategy game. I mean, one thing that could be great is if you make a mark and you could be invited on again. So it might be a good idea to kind of get familiar with the casting process, get familiar with like the people, because Rob, Boston Rob, how old was he? He was like 24 when he first went on, right?
Yeah, he was. And everybody like says he became a star after the first time. Not the first time, it took him a while. Like it was that All-Stars game where he really like exploded. So yeah.
So I would say if you can get on the show whenever you can get on it and make a good your mark as being like either an interesting character or being a really good strategist or trying really hard, something so that the producers are like, oh, let's wait and bring him back for something else. You just want the producers to get to know you and want to be casting you again. That would be my advice instead of waiting longer because the show might not even be on the air.
my piece of advice for any young person trying to get on, like, first, go for it. Try and get on, because I mean, they want young people on the show, and young people are just as good to they can get to the end and make it work. Is make sure you play a game where they're not going to at the end be on that jury and go, but you're young and I don't feel comfortable giving you the money. You just don't want to be that person, because that's happened a couple times where they're like, oh, you're great, but I just don't feel comfortable giving you the money. And like, so you guys got to find a way around that and show that you're.
Well, maybe being like, like just slipping it in there, like how you plan on using the money. Like,
Yeah.
there's a charity that you maybe like wanted to support, or that your parents buying them a home, like whatever, like you could continue with your education, pay for your master's, whatever it is. Like, I think that's a really good advice, is making sure that people know, if you're young, that what you plan, that you're planning on using the money responsibly.
Yeah.
Basically.
And you don't have to. Remember that.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, but you just have to
once
use
you
it
get the
strategy.
money, go do whatever you want with it. But play like you're mature, because the immature, it's tougher when you're young. So
Totally good advice, Phil. Thank you. Hi, DM Rocks. So DM says, I think this the next episode, I think the Taku are going to stick together, and the duos of Romeo and Drea and Hai and Lydia are getting together with Chanel, Mike, Tori, and Roxroy in the middle. Okay, so yeah, the Taku tribe, I definitely think is going to stick together, even with this episode. I do think that they will stick together. So then Drea, Hai, them four getting together. Okay, interesting. Chanel, Mike, Tori, Roxroy. Yeah, those like outcast crew, like the Chanel, Mike, Tori, Roxroy, like what it's such a weird mix of people.
Yeah, very, very, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, I don't want to be Xander. Well, Xander could have very easily won that game if he had done something. I mean, he felt as though it was good enough for him to hold on to an idol and just coast his way to the end. But that ended up being because nobody really thought that he was a threat, and nobody was going to be giving him the money. But if he, was planting those seeds of like what he's going to do with the money, and that he's super mature, and that he has like really like, a great way to use the money. And if he had used that idol in a way that benefited him, and he still got to the end, I think that people might have respected it more.
Yeah,
I think so. Yes, of course, still apply. Absolutely.
for sure.
I wish, like, I applied for the Lofters back in the day. We didn't have all these shows though.
So did I.
Survivor. You did? Of course, I waited in line. I saw Arissa was in line at the Lofters when I was there. Actually, I saw her. I saw her. Where was it? Because was it on like at the house? I can't remember. I just remember a hallway where there were stairs and people were sitting on the stairs waiting in line.
No, it was downtown Toronto, but I don't remember.
Like on Richmond at the house?
Was it? I don't think I went to a house. I thought I went to an actual building.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's 20-something years.
I mean,
ago.
you've gone to how many things? Yeah. I mean,
I've literally had probably 5,000 auditions, maybe more. But yeah, I did the offers. We didn't really have anything else that like that. So if I was 19, and I think when I was a teenager, I did send something into Road Rules back in the day. Obviously I was Canadian, so I never heard anything from it, but those were the only two things that I submitted an audition for. But there was nothing else, no other opportunities. If I had that opportunity now at 19, I would have 100% tried for all of them.
All of them. Oh, and now that there's like Canadian one, like Amazing Race Canada and that, yes.
Yes, I say yes. Like, we're super fans, so if you can get on it at a young age and start this process, like, absolutely, I would give it a go. I'm so jealous of your youth that you get to try for 20 years.
And then come on and talk to us.
Yes, we get dibs on your exit interviews or your winner's exit interview. So over at Taku, we started talking about them a little bit. So that's the Orange Tribe. Lindsay and Marianne are chatterboxes. We know that Marianne's a chatterbox. And Lindsay's an Aquarius, so easy to get involved in conversation. Would you be like Jonathan and be very annoyed by the two of them talking about everything, a run-on sentence, never ending, no silence ever? How would you react?
Yeah, I think after a while, it gets old fast. um, Especially when it's about nothing, and it's like what like they were honestly. I think in some ways it was them venting and getting some stress out and that as well, right? Like I mean, not having that chance, woohoo, having that chance to get all of that off your chest, so you're using stupid things to talk about to get into little mini fights, so you're getting it out of your system. He wore it on his face, so I think people knew that he was getting kind of frustrated by it. I think Omar looked like he was getting frustrated but was hiding it a lot better, which was smart. But yeah, I agree. I kind of felt bad because like it was about some of that stuff was like, why are we talking about this?
I was wondering what I would do, because if I'm in the conversation, obviously it's not
Right.
annoying, right? So maybe that's Lindsay's way of not getting annoyed at Marianne, is to engage in the conversation so that at least it becomes a little bit entertaining, as opposed to trying to drown out Marianne's chatter,
Yeah.
and then just literally just compounding and becoming more and more and more and more annoying. So I'm wondering if that's what Lindsay's strategy is here,
Yeah.
because if you're just to listen to that, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't hear this anymore. But if I'm talking with it, like, it's not as bad.
But going off of what you say, I agree. Like, what's the alternative? Nobody talks to Marianne, and Marianne is obviously somebody that wants to talk and wants to be social and wants to laugh and all that. If you guys get into this serious mode of, well, we're not going to talk about that stuff, like, then you're alienating her, and she's already feeling she's in a little bit of danger, I think. So you don't want to shut that down. You got to listen, and that's good for Lindsay. She's listening, she's playing along, and she's doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously Jonathan is frustrated and annoyed. He goes out fishing just to escape the chatter. And then the next scene we see is that he's chopping some wood and Marianne walks up. I rewound it a couple times. Was her foot really underneath it? Or was
I think it was
was
by
it
it, and
just
it might have like he might have hit it, and it might have like landed on the top of her foot or something. Like it was. She was close. She was close, but I mean,
I couldn't see
not.
even where the wood came down. Like I didn't see her they'd make contact.
But I know that Marianne's smart enough to know that she's pushing buttons, and I think she's doing it for a laugh too. Like I think she likes that, like joking around and being like, "Oh, you almost got me," and
Oh my God, I'm standing there. She's like, you knew that I was chopping wood. Like I was walking up. This is my area. Like, yeah, she was probably exaggerating it a
yeah,
little bit, but he was taking it very
yeah.
seriously. I do feel a little bit bad for Jonathan as well, the hangout room. It just seems that he doesn't know how to handle the energy of Marianne. And I believe that they're both Capricorns, which I think is interesting, that she doesn't read to me as a Capricorn. She reads to me more like a Gemini, maybe.
Mm.
Um, Super talkative. Talkative signs would be Aquarius, and that's what Lindsay is. Gemini is very chatty, and maybe Libra, that's another air sign, could be chatty, but I'd say Gemini were probably the chattiest. Maybe Sag could be chatty too sometimes. So Capricorn doesn't seem like a chatty sign. Like Jonathan seems more of a Capricorn. He's usually like a workhorse, people that are managers, people
Yeah.
that are, like tell people what to do, like organize things, like very kind of systematic. That's usually a Capricorn. And so Marianne's not really like that. And so it's just interesting that they're both not meshing well together, considering they're both the same sign.
I'm enjoying their worlds sort of connecting and colliding, or whatever you want to
What
call it.
if
I think it's fun to watch.
what if she developed a crush on Jonathan like she had on Zach?
She might have one. That's true.
Oh my God, maybe it's like, oh my God, you hit me. Oh my God, that would be the best if like she developed a crush on him and he just is not having it. Oh, Jonathan, that would be, sorry if that would be really annoying and frustrating for you, but that would be great entertainment for me. Hank says, dude, that room was so that scene was so dramatic. I was ready for Marianne to pretend to faint.
Oh, and you know she's the oh,
Clutch the pearls.
oh. That's wonderful.
I really wish she did faint. You're a Gemini, yeah. You talk a lot. See, Geminis are usually chatty Cathys. They're usually the social butterfly. They're ruled by Mercury, so Mercury's a planet of communication, and so Gemini is kind of like fast communication, so like fast things, fast knowledge. They could be the gossip sometimes. They love spreading information and learning a lot of new information and having a lot of short, like close friendships, but not like necessarily deep friendships. Not like a lot of social friends. We'll say, yeah. They're the social sign for sure. So Omar doesn't want the dissension in their tribe, which is really it's important because you want them to be able to stick together, because they just had the scene last episode where everybody thinks that they're kumbaya and like everything's going so well for them. So if they're not that, it's actually probably worse for them, because then they might break off and one of them might be the casualty of people jumping ship. So
good on
I
him.
agree with Omar. He needs
and
to
I think
get
that
this.
Collectively, do we not get a vibe that the audience is also going, yeah, we really want this tribe to stick together for a little while longer? Like, I'm getting the vibe people like this tribe. So
I do like the tribe, and I do like when they win, and like the dynamic. I would never put those four people together ever in my, like, I don't even know if I could conceptualize that combination of people. They're so different, all four of them. And I think it's also really cool, though, that they're bonded for life together. So that's also really interesting that they're so completely different. So obviously Jonathan is super angry and he's complaining to Lindsay. But then the next scene that we see is over at the Vati tribe. So Vati is green. I still can't remember these damn tribe names and colors. I don't know why. Vati, green. How am I going to remember that? Green, Vert. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'll remember Vati being green, and that's with Hai. Okay. So Hai does not trust any of these people. He's talking to Lydia. They were talking about wanting to vote out maybe Chanel instead of Daniel. And I was like, what? I'm like, I don't want Chanel to go instead of I don't really want Daniel to go either, because he's so messy. But like, and he's a super fan. It breaks my heart whenever a super fan gets taken out of the game, especially before at least experiencing merge, because like, and being on the jury, like I would love all super fans to really get the full experience, but then like to Chanel, I'm like, oh my God, Chanel, I don't want her to go either. What were you thinking when Hai and Lydia were thinking of maybe voting out Chanel next?
I was thinking, yes, go for Chanel. I know I'm not getting anything off of this character. I don't understand. Like she's always sort of like mopey and moody, and I don't know. I don't know anything about her. I don't feel like we've gotten to really get to know her, and I'm not really rooting for her. I'm sorry.
Okay, you don't have to. Don't worry. So IM doesn't really want anyone from Taku to win if they're being real. To win, maybe Omar at this point. Omar probably, my order of people on that tribe to win would be probably Omar, Jonathan, Lindsay, Marianne. I just don't think that there's a chance that Marianne's going to win.
That would be my order too. Like, I really don't see how Jonathan's going to win, but
no, he's out first at the merge.
I think I said this like last week or the week before. I said, but of that archetype character, Jonathan is probably the one that I've liked. I've never liked that archetype character before, and I'd be like, yeah, he I don't dislike him. So if he did win, I'd be okay with that. But I just don't see how he's going to get to the end.
I mean, he'll have to win like 7 challenges, like, which he may not. So over at Vatsy, Daniel decides to go fishing because he wants to have the full Survivor experience. And while he's out fishing, so he has a snorkel, he has a spear, he has flippers on, and everybody's like, oh, he can't participate in challenges, but he can go fishing. But I was thinking, when you're wearing flippers, you can swim a lot better. And when you're in the water, so that's why they have like water aerobics, because it's actually low impact movements. And so I actually disagree a little bit that, like, because like with if you dislocate your shoulder, you don't want to be like throwing or like pulling something. Like, you don't want to be doing something really jerky and easily could disrupt it. So in the water, you know what I mean, like it's just like it allows it to be low impact. So I didn't really agree with them, but do you think that they're just trying to find reasons to be mad at him?
Oh yeah, that was just like try and find a reason. And there are 4 of you on a beach, and the one person's not there. So let's dig and throw and dig and go. And yeah, I mean, had he come back with a lot of fish, I actually would have been like, yeah, maybe they do have a point, because he was able to like use the spear and catch people and stuff like that. But he didn't come back with anything. So I mean, it's not like he's doing something great for them that way either. So I get it though. Like, if he can't participate in challenges and they lose, why keep somebody?
So what he said, I watched his exit interview with Rob Cesternino, and he said that the reason that he wanted it was like on his Survivor bucket list, got it. But B, he also wanted them to see that he wasn't scheming, he wasn't out there trying to find idol, like he wasn't doing things that are sneaky. So he wanted to be doing something that they were aware of that he was doing, and kind of show that he wasn't being sneaky, as I said. So I thought that was an interesting idea. It didn't really work in his favor because of the fact that he has that injury, but I like that at least it was strategic to a certain extent, that he was trying to go out there and just prove that he wasn't being a schemer.
Yeah.
So we see what tribe is that now? So Ika. How are we going to remember Ika Blue? Ika Blue. I don't know how to remember these ones.
I don't know. Ika Blue. No. Ika Blue. No.
So over at Ika Blue, hopefully in like the next before the season ends, we'll know.
Now that will stick. Ika Blue.
Ika Blue. Blue. So we have Drea and Romeo decided to go and look for an idol, and Drea ends up stumbling onto the Beware advantage. She does not really hesitate and opens it right away.
Did she finish reading the Beware blah 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 before she started? I think she was like reading it. Like...
And when she opened this all up and reads the advantage or whatever, loses the vote, etc., she does say the line that becomes the title of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Survivor Rich, which she really is. Yes. And I have to say, she's the only person I have left on my draft. And at this point, I'm happy about this because she has a lot of jewelry. So she has that 3-way amulet with Lindsay and High that will, as people get voted out, it will become more powerful. Other than that, it's just it's an extra vote?
Right now, it is... the first one, I think, was extra vote. The second one was steal a vote. And the third one was an idol.
So, right? I believe so. I think that's correct. Yeah. And so she has 2 steal a votes. No, 2 extra votes, sorry. Because she got one from Shipwheel, right? Is that where she got the other one from?
Yes.
And then she now has the Beware advantage, which is basically an idol.
Which is now an, yeah.
So she could potentially have 2 idols and an extra vote, which is very powerful.
Wow. Yeah. Very good. Very smart. Very strong.
I mean, would you have opened the Beware advantage? I think I've asked you this before, but you can tell me again.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with that is if you don't open it, somebody else is. And if it's going to be good, like I just feel like you sort of have to. It's there.
Yeah. I mean, you're on the show, but like, I hate losing the vote. Like, it sucks. Yeah. Like, losing your vote is so bad,
especially with such low numbers on the tribe, right?
Exactly. It's just awful. So bad. I know it creates a lot of drama from a television perspective, but like as a player in the game, like that's probably worse than like having votes cast against you almost. So I do love though that like she's so willing to play the game that she's willing to like whatever, beware advantage, let me take it, let me go. But they also both her and Romeo recognize that Marianne said the phrase, and so they're like, oh, okay, so Marianne has the has that part, and I was like, okay, so that damn phrase might not have to be said that many times after.
So
Also,
what about like, wasn't there like this whole Tori found this?
That's exactly what I was supposed to ask
Okay,
you.
good. Go ahead.
So my question about that is, so somebody, wasn't me, but they went back and they watched that clip, and it actually wasn't Tori's voice that was doing the voiceover. So now we're realizing it was Drea's voice that did the voiceover. But regardless, though, Tori, we still haven't seen that Tori read that clue, that scene. So I'm now wondering, does Tori have to do the hourglass twist, right? Because
Oh yeah,
if
she'd be
it's similar
perfect.
mechanics, right? That she would definitely be the person that's not chosen to go on the reward, right? Like if she's the unlucky person that's standing at the end with one other person, and they choose the wrong or whatever, and the winning team has to choose between her and somebody else, I feel like everybody will choose somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if it's Tori that is going to get that beware advantage, and that is actually what she's reading.
Well then, smash! We know what's gonna happen.
Absolutely, there's like no way that she is not smashing that. She might be able to smash it faster, and the producer will be like, no, don't smash it yet. Like she'll be like,
yeah, she'll smash it before Jeff tells her what it's about. She'll just be like, ah.
So that's what I'm speculating now, because, and we also though haven't seen that scene. A lot of people are like, oh, we were all like trying to super sleuth there. We think that Tori finds the clue. Well, fine, she didn't find the clue. We still haven't seen her do that yet. It was the whole scene that we haven't seen yet, not just the words, or assuming that what we were hearing was what was going to be matched up together. So regardless, it hasn't happened yet. So we're still sleuthing this. Right. So that's my thoughts. I think Tori is going to be the one that finds or gets on that island for the hourglass. It seems like her path in this game, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's nobody more perfect.
Well, because like how she was reading it, like, read her eyes, like you know what I mean, like it was like what, like, so that's kind of hourglass twisty, right?
Wow. Now, so what if she pulls an Erica? What if this whole...
She's the winner? I don't know if she can get the votes at this point. I just don't think so. I don't think she can get the votes. Okay, so where am I? So Mike over at, which tribe is this? Oh my god, I don't think I've ever remembered. Mike said Bati. There. So Mike is on the green tribe. And if I'm not mistaken, and it doesn't matter, I just was surprised. I think that someone said that Mike is LGBTQ. I didn't know that. Oh. I did not know that, because apparently there's a lot. Someone was saying that there was like 60% or 30. I don't know. There's a percentage that was put out there of people left in the game were LGBTQ. Like, it was a high percentage. And so I believe included was Romeo high. I believe Mike was somebody, maybe Lydia. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't want to be spreading something that's not true, but there's a I just remember seeing some poll, and they're just showing like all these people that were still in the game that were LGBTQ, and it was the highest like percentage representation that the show's ever had at the same time.
Yeah. I heard at the start it was quite high, so the number. So
very impressed with that, and I had no idea really. It's like, so that was also cool. So Mike not wanting to, so Mike doesn't want to activate the phrase. What do you think about that strategy? And I feel like it should have been more clear that if everybody could or couldn't do it. I don't know why they kind of made it so vague to the audience, because I keep on being like, I feel like he should have to say it. if Marianne has said it like a gazillion times. Like if one person says it, maybe it should have been like that. If one person says it and you have found it, you have to say your line. But if nobody says it, then you don't have to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I did like the fact that there was. I guess I did. I don't mind it because I do like the idea that they're thinking outside the box with it, and they're like coming up with a strategy. Like, because otherwise it's just reading the clues. So I do like that they're sort of thinking like, well, okay, how can we make this work to our advantage? But then he kind of doesn't do what I think he probably should have done at the challenge. But yeah.
So we have our immunity challenge, though. And we know that Mike doesn't want to say this phrase, but we do now know that Drea has her phrase, and we obviously know that Marianne has hers. So Marianne, all ready to say this phrase. She comes in, and I don't know how she's like this damn buddy in that mailbox. Like I just don't care anymore. Like anyway, so she says it. And then Drea says her phrase about how she was staring at a potato. And the potato has skin. I have skin. Does that mean I'm a potato? And Jeff is like, okay, so anybody else have anything to say? And he's about to move on. And Mike kind of pipes in with his phrase, but he doesn't really say it very well. And it was really awkward. But I think it's because he didn't practice it because he wasn't planning on saying it. But I thought that was quite funny that he was trying to make it make sense, but it just made less sense the more he tried to make it make sense. And
can you imagine you don't know what's going on because like you haven't seen these clues and you're like, what the hell is going on with these three people are like on drugs or something? Something's not making sense. What are they talking about?
Was it Jeff that says, I have very little to add? I put it in quotes.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Very little to add. Like, he's just so proud of himself with these.
He's like, oh, yeah, another great twist. Yeah.
Yes, it works. They're all saying their phrases. Yes.
So what do you think? Like, do you think this was the right thing for him to do? Or do you think he should have kept it to himself?
I think it is more important to have your vote than it is to have an active idol later. You know what I mean? Like, I think like if he went to tribal and he didn't have his vote, I might want to vote him out. Right. True. At this point.
True.
So I don't know. I think that the vote is more important. I would do my best to get that activated and whatever, say this is like a tribe idol, whatever it is, but I think I would want to activate it quickly. I don't think I understand not wanting everybody else to know that you also have it, so I can see that logic, and then you would know the two other people that did have it. So that's interesting, but I think that in these small tribes, my vote would be more important. And he saw how terrible his game kind of went down. Like if he still had his vote, Jenny would still be in the game. So
yeah, I agree. Like the vote is, I mean, you in some ways you have to live in the moment of what is happening. And I mean, look, they ended up going to tribal, so his vote was very important. I think the only pro is the whole. Well, now you would know if your tribe was cohesive and together, which they're not. But if they were, then they could be like, okay, we know where the other two idols are right now. We know who's just got them, and they have no idea who's got them on our side. And you know, technically they wouldn't have their idols until they get to that merge point. So.
And that's a good point, Hangout Room. If they were to switch tribes, but you don't know what's going to happen in the game of Survivor, like switching tribes and not having a vote would have been terrible. So I would want my vote back as soon as possible.
Yeah. I think the moment is what you got to think about, what you need.
Hi, Danielle. So Drea's saying that potato line. Where did she get the potato? Tori looked so confused. Yeah, I don't know if there's any potatoes in Fiji. Are there potatoes in Fiji?
I guess if you plant them, I don't know.
No, for her to,
Not
for her to be
naturally.
looking at a potato on
Yeah.
on the beach.
Yeah.
So I would probably be confused by that as well. And just wondering, like, who's this Drea?
I
Like,
didn't
what
get
is she doing?
potato.
I do want to see next episode just to hear if anybody has any confessionals about that line and how that went down, because we didn't really like that's the thing, is that there's not that much payoff. I find, like, I would love
Right.
to hear people's responses to these lines, but really it's just the gag that the audience knows that they have to say these silly lines. But I want to know what the other players think about them.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to me. So the immunity is not for food, and people were pretty upset. They're like, food,
Like,
food,
oh,
and Jeff is like, like the dad that buys the wrong gift at Christmas, and he's like, well, it's not food, it's a tarp. It's really good, and they're like, yay, tarp.
Yeah.
So a large and small tarp is what they're going to be playing for.
That was a weird prize at this stage. Like, it feels late, like quite late for it, and it's a shorter game, so it's like, well, okay, like,
yeah, it's like 12 days in, I get a tarp.
It's
There's
like,
12 days left. Like, I want food. I'm hungry.
The shelter's done. I don't need.
Yeah, I figured the shelter is good. So with this one, they had to go up and over a net ramp. They had to unbraid a key in kind of like a puzzle, which I thought was a cool kind of mechanic to the unbraiding. Then they had to machete chop a rope to release some sandbags, and then you had to use the sandbags to hit a target, and I think it was 2 targets to win. I felt terrible for Omar, because Omar's supposed to be the brains and Jonathan's supposed to be the bronze, and he didn't seem to have a handle on that puzzle at all. Tori, though, was flying through it, which I thought was really impressive. I felt that she was really strong for her team this challenge.
Yeah, and I think, there have been people saying, like, oh, she's a very smart player, like outside of the game. People that have seen her and go, oh, she's very smart. She really proved that she is. Like, I think she's a smart girl. So,
yep, he tanked it. Tanked. So they finally get it. I think that Lindsay was helping Omar out to unbraid it. And Jonathan was like, I can't do anything about it. But finally, when it's unbraided, they get the key. Jonathan runs over and he chops the machete. He goes, gets the sandbag, starts throwing. And at this point, Ika has already won like the first place in the larger tarp. So that's with the help of Tori. And then it's now a showdown. They basically are neck and neck with Vati. Is it Vati? It must be, yes. Vati, the Vati tribe. And so they both have not hit any targets yet. And Jonathan comes, he like lands pretty much the first one. Then Vati lands one. And then we get the slow swelling music and the wind up and the throw of Jonathan. And it connects. And they came from behind, and they were able to win the second place, the smaller tarp, and that is going to be sending Green Vati to Tribal Council. Dun, dun, dun. The messy tribe. I was basically just thinking that, like, Chanel's probably going to go, because, like, that's what we saw in the beginning. Like, we saw that that's kind of what Hai and Lydia were thinking. What were your thoughts of how this was probably going to go down?
I was kind of like, it's one of the two. Like, I was like, there's no way it's any of the other three. I mean, I was like, they keep showing that Daniel, they talked about his arm and they talked about him sitting out a lot, and that, so I understood that. And then they did say, oh, but Chanel could be more trouble down the long road, and had a conversation about that. So I was like, that could be interesting too. So yes, he does.
Yes, Jonathan does. He's very expressive. Before we get back to their camp, I forgot that the 2 players were going to be going on a journey. So the winning tribe had to choose somebody from the losing tribe to go on the journey. So they chose Lydia, And then they also chose for Roxroy to go on this journey with Lydia. So yes, so back though at Vati, Daniel and Chanel are kind of the two people that are being decided between. Did you have a preference on who went home? I guess you wanted Chanel to go home.
Well, only because like I haven't like I just don't really know Chanel. Like I just like these episodes, like we haven't really got to know her, and I don't know. She doesn't seem very happy playing. Like, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want the unhappy person playing. Like, but I get why Daniel went too. Like, I mean, he was such a wild card and like all over the place with his thinking. Like, and bad. Like, he didn't know when to shut up. Like, he should have shut up when he was talking sometimes. So
It's true. He
yeah,
needs somebody to wrangle him a little bit. He needed
yeah,
somebody to calm him down and like let him be a little bit more
yeah,
chill and rational. He's an Aries, and so he's just like, but he's like an Aries that's like uncontained fire. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he needs somebody just to help him manage his fire and his passion a little bit. So
yeah.
he did not have that in anyone on the tribe. And Chanel is a Leo. I think I was saying that she was a Virgo. I think I saw that her birthday was the 24th, but it's the 22nd. So she is a Leo, which is another fire sign. So they will get along, but they can
No,
also
but when they don't get
bring a
along,
bigger fire, right?
yes, I
This is
know
the
that.
fire
That's my
guru.
world.
I'm trying
Oh,
to remember all the names, Danielle. I'm making concerted effort to remember the names and the colors. And so I just want to have it locked down.
I was going to say, just going back, I was kind of surprised. I wasn't surprised that they picked Lydia to go on the thing. I was kind of surprised that they picked Roxroy because Andrea knew what the thing was. I'm surprised she didn't like make Romeo go because then they could have got another vote. Like I feel like they would have known like there was a chance
Maybe
that
it's
Lydia
to make Roxroy feel like he's part
may be
of the
part of
group.
something. Yeah,
Because those other three just voted differently from him,
yeah,
and they're saying like we're still a team, we want to work together, so let's let the person that was out on that feel as though that they're part of
feel they're
something.
part of
So
it. Yeah,
I think that that's why they
maybe
chose them. How did you feel about their journey though? So Lydia and Roxroy both were not really giving anybody any information.
no.
She was asking like, so who do you get along with on your tribe, and who do you like, or the dynamics and stuff like that. And he's like, just
Yeah,
stepping around that question, not answering anything.
They're
How'd you like
they
their
are. We're not going to see these two teaming up in the future for sure. One of them rubbed the other one the wrong way, obviously, because they just did not. They did not click. Uh, because it was quite a wasted opportunity, I think. And
well, and
I'm not
also for
surprised.
Roxroy made, I thought, the wrong decision. So he was
Yeah,
basically in the same situation that Chanel was in the last week. Lydia did the right thing and said, I need my vote because I'm going to
yeah,
tribal council. And Omar taking that information, like, okay, that means that I can risk my vote. Right.
yeah.
And so that is what I thought that Roxroy should have also have done, has been like,
Right.
okay, she needs it, I'm going to also risk my vote. Because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised now if people were like, are you sure you didn't get a vote?
Right. Right.
Like,
Which
that
again,
she
that's
needs
kind
the
of
vote.
confusing. Again, like I know Roxroy was sort of out on the vote, so that does confuse me. Like, why would you give that guy even a chance to get an extra vote? Like I know, like you
But
wanted to feel like he fits in, but I'm like, but who cares about that? You don't want to give people power. Like, don't give them another vote because that could come out and haunt you in the game. Um,
but
I don't
then
know,
he
and
doesn't do that.
he doesn't do
I
it.
would think that he has the vote. Like, I was like,
Maybe,
he's
maybe,
lying.
maybe they think
He's
he's
lying.
stupid. He would make that stupid move. Maybe they knew he'd be that stupid.
Maybe they're like, don't risk your vote. You don't want to
Maybe,
lose your vote. Maybe she warned him, being like,
maybe.
yeah, if you risk your vote, you'll lose your vote.
That's true. Maybe he doesn't understand what it is. Maybe he hasn't been told properly what it is.
But that's also possibly true.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was a bad move, though. As an opportunity to pretty much guarantee yourself an extra vote in the game, especially you were just out on the outside and then you got this opportunity. Like, you might as well take advantage of it because you don't get that many chances to get trinkets and doodads on Survivor. So consider yourself lucky when you have that opportunity, you know?
I did like that it was those two because I think last week when we talked, I think I said for both of them, I just don't see how there's any chance that they're going to win. So I like that because I still, after watching that, I'm like, nope, they ain't winning.
No, I don't think so either. I was still kind of confused why Daniel was blaming Chanel still. So I still don't fully understand, but what he had said when he was talking to Rob was that he was trying to, like, Chanel was supposed to, no matter what, keep her vote. Like, no matter what, like, it was like hammering home, like, you have to keep your vote, you have to keep your vote, you have to keep your vote. And so after she didn't keep her vote, he knew about this and he was just trying to, he really wanted to stay loyal to Chanel, to the group, and by, you know, giving them that opportunity to say, like, try to help him convince Hai. He was just like, he thought that, like, the fact that she didn't stand up to say that that's what she wanted to have happen was her kind of betraying the fact that they were working together and they all wanted to keep Jenny. And so that's kind of what he was saying about why he felt betrayed by Chanel, because he was 100% in on that alliance and then nobody was backing him up in the moment when they were at the tribal. So
yeah, it's funny because it was 2 episodes ago, but then in the game, because of this now, there's like a vote every day or every other day. They are closer, so I guess things still sting more in that sense than how it used to be on Survivor, where it's like, oh, 6 days, anything can happen in 6 days. But in this case, it might have been 3 days, and they're still talking about that stupid tribal. I mean, I guess going to Rocks too is quite impactful, so that's probably sticking in all of their heads.
Yes, definitely. The Rocks was worrisome. So we do get to tribal. Well, actually, before tribal, we're still back at the Vati tribe, and Mike tells Chanel that she's 100% safe with him. She's safe. She's going to be safe no matter what. But, like, he's also talking to Hai, and they're like, yeah, we're voting, like they're going to be voting together, and like he was so thankful that they weren't going to be voting for him. And so I was thinking, like, so he just promised Chanel, but like from what I've seen, Hai and Lydia were planning on taking out Chanel. Like, is Mike lying? Are they going to actually take out Chanel and he just lied to her? I'm like, oh my goodness. And so when Lydia comes back, she is confident that she's going to be sticking around and confident in in the plan. I was like, really? She's confident? Okay. Oh, sorry. That's one thing I want to say about the confidence thing. She does have a moment where we have reflection on her journey and like with her own body image and stuff like that. And so it was nice to see that moment from Lydia. I do want to know a little bit more about her though. Like I appreciate sharing, having any body issues and wanting to coming on the show and developing that confidence, but I would have liked to learn a little bit more about her.
Yeah, I just don't, and maybe this is how the storyline's going, but it just sort of feels like her character in this is Hai's sidekick.
Absolutely.
Right, and I'm like, I'd like to know who she is a little bit more, like, and that, like, we're hearing the real gameplay and strategic talk about what this pair is doing from Hai. We're not really getting much from Lydia, so.
Exactly. So we get to tribal and it's all jokey. I'm like, man, these people are joking like nobody's going home right now. Yeah. And we see, Daniel really complimenting Mike on being a team player and always want to do things for the team and, keeping the peace. And then Chanel kind of cuts in and is just like, oh, I know we're just talking about analogies and all this stuff, but like Daniel's playing the game. Like he's making it known to Mike that like he appreciates him and he's loyal, but she didn't say it like that though. She said it in such a covert way. Like she was very much answering obviously, but like a roundabout at the same time. What did you think about the dynamic of this tribal?
It was funny because like they were laughing and smiling and yeah, we're family and all this. And I don't know. I think this is part of like the Chanel thing that I've got. Like she just seemed not part of that group, and she was just like, yeah, like she was like frowning and she was just like not happy. And I'm like, what's like?
Why would you
Is
want to
she?
be
And
happy though
so
at tribal though?
but the rest of them were like they were all like joking around in that, and I don't know. Maybe she thought she was going. Maybe like
Well, like maybe
that's
because Daniel's so happy-go-lucky, like maybe she's
that
like,
could
"Oh my
be
god, like I'm
irritating.
actually
Yeah,
going to be going home now."
going. Yeah, but
Like
she
if
just
he's so
seemed.
easygoing.
I feel like she would be good on maybe one of the other tribes in some ways, like where they're taking it more, like maybe the blue tribe where they're taking it a little bit more seriously. She seems to be more serious about the game than some of them. Like, and I don't know, like
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
wondering
know.
if it's because though she got into such hot water and like she's just trying to like maybe not get angry, like she's really just trying to get out of that mess. And so, you
Yeah,
know, not wanting to ruffle any feathers in any sort of way, like she did get out of it, but like she was in a load of trouble. And so
yeah,
I could see that she just was trying to like not say too much or too little and like not irk anybody
yeah,
in any way. But the hangout room is kind of with you. Chanel is getting on their nerves. She voted Mike. I would not trust her going forward. She is unpredictable with her
yeah,
vote. So let's get to that. So they were going to be voting on trust, and that's when Chanel has like that whole thing, like whatever roundabout talk about trust. And so I wrote down Daniel's shoulder should scare them. And I think that's true. I'm like, because I thought 100% that Daniel was staying, Chanel was going to be going, and that like they shouldn't be bringing along Daniel because like he won't be able to compete. All the numbers are going to be lining up, and if they don't merge at this point, like Daniel's shoulder will definitely be a liability. So I thought that
right.
like you probably shouldn't keep him. But they do end up voting, and it ends up being, how did it go? The first round went
2-2-1.
so, and that's when she voted for Mike.
Yes, yeah. She votes for Mike. Mike and Daniel vote for Chanel, I think it was, and Lydia and Hai vote for Daniel. I think that's how it went.
So people are like speculating as to why she did that. And I think it's because so they split the vote because they wanted to ensure that one of the two of them went home for the
Right. So
most
if an
part. Like if
idol was
Daniel,
played,
yeah,
yeah,
the either the shot in the dark or if there was another idol of some
right,
sort in play.
right,
But the thing is, Daniel wouldn't have had a vote if he did that. So then there would have only been one vote on Chanel. Okay, so that's why she did it.
she did
So
to protect.
then it would be a 1-1 with Mike if
Right,
that's the case, right? Because there would be only one vote on Chanel, one vote on Mike, no votes on Daniel. They would have to revote between those two people. And so I guess she was just trying to make sure that she didn't automatically go home in a tie. That's what I'm
yeah.
thinking.
But why Mike? Why not? I mean, I guess not, you don't want to put it on Lydia and Hai in the sense that you've already like there's already that tension there. But
Or
there's
maybe that was
already
part of
that
their
tension.
plan, though. Maybe Hai
Maybe
and Lydia knew
went
about
to
the fact that she
Chanel.
was going to put the vote on Mike, just to ensure that
Yeah.
none of the three of them went home if there was
Mhm.
any sort of um, idle play.
Right. So that should be something Mike's thinking about. Mike should be going, hold on a second, like where what would have happened if we had a tie there 1-1 and Daniel was safe? Who would have went between me and Chanel?
So I'm
So
wondering, though, do you think that Chanel will try to blame the vote on Daniel?
well hmm.
So if she tried to blame the vote on Daniel,
Yeah.
she says that she voted out Daniel. And then either Lydia
But
or
they've gone to tribal twice. Like they haven't they or no once. They've gone to tribal once. And I think that like and they voted twice. So I think they've been able to tell whose handwriting too.
that's true.
So
That's true.
I would hope so. So
Hmm. So, oh yes, because Mike has an idol, so I guess she was also preparing for that.
Oh well, or maybe they were trying to flush the eye, like get rid of the idol. Like maybe they would have, if he, if they, so if it ended up Daniel played the shot in the dark and it was Chanel and him, Hi and Lydia, if they were in on the plan with Chanel, they probably would have voted out Mike and taken out his idol.
Because yeah, do you know what?
Which,
Mike does
yeah.
turn around and say to Chanel, like, I don't know if he said I voted for you or like I didn't vote for you the second time around, or I can't remember exactly what he said, but he says something to her. And so I'm thinking that they both voted for each other and like he
Oh, he
wants there
said
to be no
I
beef.
stuck to. He said I stuck to the plan, but somebody voted for me.
Oh, and so do you think that she's going to fess up to that or just let bygones be bygones
Yeah,
and
I kind of feel
let it
like he
merge?
knows that it wasn't Daniel. So yeah.
Somebody
It will
voted
be.
for him.
I hope Survivor producers show us what happens. We want to know.
Don't worry, I'm leaving now. I am to go watch Big Brother. We're gonna go live after the episode with JoJo and Jonathan. Phil, do you have anything else to say about this particular episode? I mean, I'm sad to see Daniel go in this case. For in the revote, they did vote out Daniel, unfortunately. But I think I am happy to see Chanel stay because I want to know how she ended up getting the votes to stay. Like what I want to hear what happened, how that came about because the show didn't show me this. Like they surprised me with this
Yeah,
ending because
yeah,
they didn't give me this information. So hopefully they make that clear. I am looking forward to next week to see how the 2-hour episode plays out. So that would be fun.
yeah.
Any thoughts for
I,
you before
I
we
I'm
say goodnight?
so. Next week is 2 hours.
I believe so.
Oh right, because I think last year at this time didn't they do it like and they ended it on a cliffhanger of Erica on the island of what happened.
Oh,
So
so on the second hour? Gross.
no,
That's
I know
annoying.
that was on. I think it was only a 1 hour episode though. So if it's 2 hours, then they'll show it properly
When
this
was the
time. Where
2-hour episode? I know we had a 2-hour episode last
I don't
year
I don't
or
know
last
if it was
season.
that episode. I don't know if it was that episode, but it might have been. I might be wrong, but I will say I'm happy that Chanel stayed in the sense that I like she's kind of chaos, right? We don't know what is she going to do because she in her mind I'm sure is feeling not connected to these people on her tribe. Same with Tori, we've got people. I mean, even Marianne in some ways, as much as they're all cohesive, has said like she kind of feels out. So there are people that are next in line that they can now mix it up once the merge happens, and it's going to be very telling to see what happens. And if it is Tori on the thing, there's no way she doesn't smash it. So those six strong people that are on the winning side are all going to somebody's getting screwed from that. So that will be fun to watch.
It will be. I guess since we know that it's coming now, like we can brace for it. It's not as
Yeah,
bad
that's
because we're
bad.
just like we're prepared,
It's still
but
not fair, but
it's
yeah,
terrible. But
yeah, yeah,
if they do it again, at least we know it's coming, and so
yeah.
we're just basically watching the fallout from it, not just harping on game integrity. So
Yeah.
well, thank you,
Wonderful.
Phil, for being here today. I know you won't be here next week, but we'll be really excited to talk about the 2-hour episode without you. No, just kidding. But
Oh,
have a great vacation. Thank you,
thank
obviously, for
you.
always coming on and chatting with me here and all of us here in the chat. You guys are amazing.
I'll
You
see
guys
you
are
in a
awesome. Do you
couple
have
weeks.
See you in a couple of weeks. And make sure, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like this video. If you are watching the replay, if you could just comment on whether or not what do you think is going to happen if they're going to do the hourglass twist the exact same way? Do you think they're going to change things up? Obviously, no spoilers if you know them, but I am curious about what you think is going to
Yeah.
be altered and changed about this twist that's going to be probably happened on this mergatory episode. All right. So we'll see you guys maybe in an hour or so to watch Big Brother
Ooh.
can or recap it. And otherwise, we'll see you, Phil, in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you, chat.